Good evening, everyone. It's like 3 a.m. at my place. I've become a vampire, I guess. Joke aside, this is the Megatron Striker, the assault version of the Tier 9 Megatron. Now, this is a Tier 10 ship that will be available soon enough for the players. And well, time to dive into the ship's details and characteristics, and well, we will see what the ship will offer. Now, Megatron designs are usually one of my favorites. I loved this ship a decade ago. Its design was absolutely amazing for me back then, and the skins currently that are available are looking very nice. Both of these skins do stand out, and they make this ship prettier than it already is. Alright, well, let's go to the trait description. Advanced large railgun upgrade bonus per level will give you plus 4% large railgun damage, minus 5% large railgun activation time, plus 7.5% large railgun tracking speed. Advanced battleship command bonus per level will give you minus 5% inertia modifier. Alright, well, pretty straightforward and pretty decent bonuses. The ship has 2 drones, 7 high slots, 4 medium slots, 8 low slots, 6 low slots, 3 combat rigs, and 3 engineering rigs. Again, primarily a armor tank ship with the new added changes that will be a preferred type to tank this ship, and the rest of the stats are pretty comparable to the rest of the battleships, although I have to say this ship is indeed very slow. Now on to my fit. 1.7k DPS, almost 1.8k DPS on this ship using the large rifled railguns. Not Type C, didn't get my hands on Type C stuff, was pretty much sold out upon the opening of this server. Dual webs, one Nosferatu, one Scrambler, dual drones, you can fit either medium or large drones, both work fine. Afterburner, armor repair, dual magnetic stabilizers, and dual adaptive invulnerability fields. This is the close range build with the close range railguns. A lot higher DPS, almost 2.4k DPS with, well, actually it is 2.4k DPS, alright. I was looking at the wrong number there. Now, with this build, if you want to counter frigates, then you can change that web into a neutralizer. Neutralizer with one Nosferatu is definitely going to kill capacitors of ships that are close by. Duab and Scram also help at keeping the ships that are close by at distance. Now, instead of the weapon buffs, you can also place the tracking enhancers, or you can also replace that one with a reactive armor hardener. It depends how you want to build this ship. As for my case, I think I will go with tracking computers, because this ship does have a very special mode that I'll be showing you that is going to be very crucial for these assault battleships. Okay, let's see if the rig window will pop up. There we go. Now this is my classic rig combo for maximum possible DPS, although you can be more creative and you can add rigs for tracking, for rate of fire, or even for something else. As for the engineering rigs, a targeting rig can be very important, because battleships are they are big ships, slow ships, they have a hard time locking on smaller fast targets. Targeting rig will definitely help you with that. Now, of course, these are my personal recommendations for this type of ship. Of course, you can choose whichever rigs, of course, work best for you. Now, I like to use the medium to long range railguns on this ship, as you are going to see later on. And I will place dual tracking computers. They should help with tracking. I will lose a little bit of DPS, but that is okay. I didn't lose a lot of DPS, still very high. Alright, let's play around with this ship. Now let's see what the maximum possible DPS output is on such a ship. Now currently 3.8k DPS. Well, that's already getting a little bit scary. That is indeed very high DPS. Getting close to the Windy, that ship is a faction version of a Megatron, and this ship is getting pretty damn close. The resistances are also looking pretty good. It is cap stable, that is very important. It is cap stable. It is also very, very slow. 144 meters per second without afterburner, with afterburner 377.44 meters per second. This might be one of the slowest battleships that I've ever flown. You all know that I prefer fast ships, but Megatron does have a special place. Now, these assault battleships, strikers have the siege mode, something that we can see in EVE Online Dreadnoughts. Now, very interesting, these battleships have this special mode that gives a wide range of buffs and debuffs. It increases damage, but it also reduces tracking speed or missile explosion speed, and it reduces your own ship speed, while of course increasing the damage parameters of all the weapons. Oh man, what would the DPS be like now? Now the siege mode, judging by the debuffs, can be used at range, shooting at stationary targets, preferably at large targets. 3.7k DPS with the siege mode enabled. That is indeed a scary number. That is, of course, without the magnetic damage buffs on. Very close range with the weapons. Now let's enable those two. 5.6 thousand DPS. Okay. Oh man, this is very terrifying. Imagine getting caught by this in close range. Yeah, not a good day for the target. Now, if you're in a frigate, cruiser, or even battlecruiser, you are going to be mostly safe at close range. These ships will have terrible tracking in the siege mode, so you are safe if those things jump you at close range. That's why I prefer to use the medium to long range weapons on this ship, because I can have range, and at range tracking does kind of become more forgiving, and you can hit even smaller targets in the siege mode at the distance. Now let's see what I will do over here. Interestingly enough, I found out that you can hit frigates in the siege mode, but not to risk it, I recommend that you turn off the siege mode while you are shooting at frigates, destroyers, cruisers. Even some battlecruisers can be tricky to hit. And once you clear those ships out, you can enter the siege mode and you can delete the battleships or battlecruisers on the enemy fleet with ease. So a very interesting gameplay from these ships. Might very well be one of the more fun to play ships. They have a very unique gameplay style so far. Requires some practice, requires some tactics, I guess, because I think it might be dangerous to get caught with a frigate if you are in the siege mode. Once they get close to you, things can go wrong pretty quickly. These ships are phenomenal at storyline missions, they are phenomenal at PvP, so I kind of see why these ships are considered to be endgame ships. Now let's see the damage output on those. Over 100 kilometers when I activate both of the tracking computers. It also increases accuracy a lot, which helps at shooting down the targets. So far, the DPS is excellent, despite me not having the damage mods installed. Not a problem, as you can see, still hitting pretty much all ships. That is some very nice DPS output on this ship. Again, skills are maxed out. All battleship and railgun skills are maxed out. So this is what you can expect from this ship's performance. 102 kilometer optimal accuracy, 58.53. 100 kilometers optimal range. Now that's getting impressive. I thought that the maximum range was 102 kilometers. That means it should be able to hit targets even beyond 100 kilometers. Very nice. Well, so far I can tell you I love this ship. And one day, when I actually hit tier 10 in I don't know how long, I'll definitely get one of these ships. I mean, I'm technically flying one as I speak, so I guess I did get it eventually. I got it, so that's fun. That Raven... Now, I've seen people not liking the Raven Striker because of the nerfs that the ship went through. I think the classic Raven is still doing a very good job at its purpose, still one of the best battleships in the game. So if you don't like the Raven Striker, you can fly the classic tier 9 Raven. Should be cheaper and should be roughly around the same power. And of course, throughout this I will fly all of these battleships. And the next one on the line should be, I think should be Abaddon and the other Amar ships. After I finish with these, I will jump on the Maelstrom. After I finish with the Maelstrom, I'll probably jump on the cavalry battleships. That will be fun. The Maelstrom does have the chances to be one of the best ships for storyline missions because of its range with the large artillery weapons. Now I'm shooting this Caracal in siege mode, and as you can see I am having a hard time hitting it. So eventually I think I'll just disable the siege mode. Even with the tracking computers enabled overheated, I wasn't able to properly hit the cruiser. But once you disable the siege mode, then you start to do damage onto these ships. So a balance between using the siege mode and normal mode in these missions is definitely going to be the key at playing these assault battleships. Now I call them assault battleships because they're mostly designed to deliver as much damage as they can. These ships will be used for fleets until dreadnoughts are out, or they will be used side by side with dreadnoughts in major fleet battles because of their DPS and range. Now dreadnoughts are they going to have a separate siege module, siege mode module, or are they going to have a similar built-in siege mode like these battleships? That is out to debate, and I think they might have a separate module, but I might be wrong. They might have a similar built-in module like these assault battleships, which will give a similar, if not the same, effect. Now, one thing that might change is they might also get a rate of fire buff because, well, dreadnought weapons are already having long cycles because, well, they are after all capital ship weapons. It takes time to shoot one of these things, so that's what I personally think will happen. Of course, we will see. We will get these ships on the anniversary of the game. That will be around the corner at this moment. Will happen pretty soon. You know, they say that time flies, and I can tell you, it definitely does. Because one of my oldest ships in the game currently is getting 5 months old. I think that's the Cinnabel. I've had that ship for a while now. It is currently one of my oldest ships in service. Don't plan on losing it. Although, on the test server, I gave the ship out to one of my friends. And, well, they blew it up within 24 hours of me giving them the ship. But it's fine. It's what test servers are for. I've seen a lot of people have a blast on the test servers. I'm glad that people enjoy the game. Now, I've noticed something very interesting here. Why do these ships have the same color pattern, same camouflage pattern as Blood Raider ships? My Ashimu wants its camo back. These ships have literally the same camouflage as Blood Raider ships, the new tier 10 ships, which I think is okay because the faction ships are already counted as tier 10 kind of, because they're already top tier, with the only difference being that alpha players can also fly faction ships. They are after all tier 0, which is very good because if, for example, you are a Omega player and if your Omega expires, you can still fly your favorite ship, and of course the ship will lose some of its effects, but the core effects of the ship will still last, and of course their faction ships, they'll still do a lot of damage, which is nice. That means once you get a faction cruiser, I even think that you can fly faction battleships with Alpha. I haven't tested that out, but I've been told that there are some tier 6 players who fly these faction battleships as Alpha. Personally, I haven't seen them, but that's what I've heard. We'll have to try that out one day. I'm absolutely sure for frigates and for cruisers, you can fly them even after your Omega expires, which is good. That means you can also have fun. You don't have to chase the Omega. You can take breaks if you need to. Right, well, let's see if I can hit this interceptor from 75 kilometers. Let's turn on the... Well, that was nice. 2 cycles and that little interceptor kicked the bucket. And now this exploration frigate joined the interceptor. Let's see if this destroyer will also join them. Yeah, it definitely will. You know, might very well be one of the most fun battleships that I've flown so far. I love this ship. It is a beast. It indeed is a monster. Now, I'm curious to see how the other assault battleships will do. Very curious to see how the Amar ones will do. I think I can get around the same DPS. Will be fun to compare these two ships. And of course, I think I'll also do something very funny. I'll try to blow up some very expensive freighters, the first generation of capital ships in this game. So if you want, to blow my freighter up, I'll be. Now I'm not quite sure about the time. I think I will announce the time after this video has been released. But I will go to Tama most likely, and I will sit at. Well, I'll actually sit at the gate, and I will invite everyone to come and blast that freighter to bits. Let's see if we can nail 100 trillion ISK in damage. That will be fun, because I know that people want to blow up my ships, and I'll give them the opportunity to destroy my ship and to have a very juicy kill mail. Of course, that is the test server, but it is still fun, and it will be a nice little event. So that means I'll announce that after this video has been released, you'll definitely notice that once the time is for that. Alright, well, I let this little. Yeah, I am in the siege mode, am I? I forgot to disable it. I was curious why I wasn't hitting that target. Note, it is one of the things where you should be careful about. Forgetting that you are in siege mode can be dangerous. The siege mode kills your ship's speed and tracking, so small targets can get close and they can cause trouble. So always keep an eye on the siege mode, keep an eye on the ship's velocity. Don't allow frigates, destroyers and cruisers to get too close to you. They can be very troublesome, to say the least. After you delete all frigates, destroyers, cruisers, then you can go into the siege mode, and then you can wreak havoc on the remaining ships on the field. Okay, I have exited the siege mode. Now I will continue to mow down all of these Amar ships. By the way, I got myself the tier 9 RB covertops 2. They made RB covertops 3, by the way, which is tier 10, I think, or they made the RBB a tier 10 ship, the RB3. And oh man, I haven't flown that ship in a while, mostly because I kind of need a ship that can help out my buddies that I fly with. In that case, that is definitely Diashimo or Cinnabon or other interceptors. Now, if they decide to make a faction ship version of the arbitrator, I'm buying that ship. I don't care if it's like 10 billion, I'm buying it. I owe the arbitrator a lot. I think from all ships that I have flown in this game, the arbitrator is absolutely my favorite. I owe that ship a lot. It is a ship that I started PvP with. That ship got me kind of known in the game. So I owe that little cruiser a lot. So I'm definitely going to fly it. You can expect the RB covertops 2 and 3 very soon. So I'll come up with some very nice fits for these ships, because they are indeed very powerful ships, and of course drones, being drones, are still one of the best weapon system in the game, almost a year after release, and drones, in my opinion, still dominate basically anything, because they just have these advantages over conventional weapons that make them so powerful and so lethal. Now I forgot something to mention. You can also place sentry drones in these ships, because if you're already sniping at distance, you can snipe with sentries, so that works. But be careful, sentries have also poor tracking and they can miss a lot of targets. So be careful around that. But if you like sentries, you can also use sentry drones for the drones for these ships. Well, I have exited the siege mode. Now I can quickly delete all of the annoying interceptors, annoying frigates and destroyers. Next will be this cruiser. And after this cruiser is down, I will shoot the rest of the ships. This ship's armor, by the way, the tank is stable. At long ranges you are not going to take too much damage. The current armor fit does work quite well. No issues with the repairer, no issues with the capacitor. Everything works smoothly, everything is quite very well balanced. So I think this time around, regarding armor at least, they did a good job. Now I've seen that the armor plates were bugged. People who did still take damage even after activating the armor plates. That is a bug, should be fixed by now. Not quite sure what's the situation of it currently, but it should be fixed. Well, it was kind of funny. I saw some ships with 100% armor but 1% hull, and they did not want to die because they had armor left, although they should be destroyed, because once your hull hits 0, the ship hits, it starts to become a wreck. So there's definitely some things to improve. A lot of things to improve about interceptors and destroyers. Especially interceptors, they need to be nerfed. Like, I saw an interceptor with 1000 DPS, and that was kind of ridiculously stupid if you ask me. So I'm pretty sure that they will nerf these ships. After all, we are not going to see tier 10 for at least 100 more days or so, something along those lines. People are still freshly into tier 9, so tier 10 is still far off. They have time to balance these things out. And of course, for the love of this game, add Rifter Assault, Tristan Assault. These frigates deserve more love. These frigates are kind of iconic. Rifter is one of the most iconic ships in the game, and it definitely deserves a little bit more recognition in the game. When they and I know that they will release more versions of the Rifter. Basically, they said all of the ships from tier 1 to 9 will have several versions of them, and that gives me hope to see a tier 6 or 7 Rifter. When that happens, well, that's gonna be the best frigate in the game, and I am absolutely going to get it and fight. Last ship on the field, this Abaddon. Gotta love the name of that ship. One of the most majestic ships in the game. Definitely a ship that, when you see it on the field, you get goosebumps, because those things can be very dangerous. Very tanky and very good DPS. Of course, they're slow, but they compensate their speed with their very good tanking and very good DPS ability. Alright, couple more hits. My shield was mostly stable throughout this whole video. That's something I've noticed. Very interesting. Very interesting. And this Abaddon has been sent back to the station. Alright, well, hope you enjoyed. I absolutely love this monster of a ship, and well, when we hit tier 10, I'm most likely going to get one. With that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.